We are joined by Labour's campaign coordinator, Pat McFadden, who is live from Kingswood. Morning, Pat. I think this has been an extremely positive end to what was quite a bruising week for your party. Congratulations. What's your initial sort of gut reaction?
Well, these are fantastic results for Labour. I'm joining you here from Kingswood, where we overturned a Tory majority of over 11,000 last night. And the result in Wellingborough was even more spectacular. So we are absolutely delighted. We've got two new Labour MPs that will do a great job for the areas who elected them last night. And these are really important results in a general election year. They can't be dismissed as some kind of midterm blues for the government. The election is soon. It could be as early as May, if not May, a little bit later in the year. This is close to the general election time. And so we're really pleased with the progress that we made last night.
Some of the analysis, Pat, is that this has been less of a brilliant night for the Labour Party, but more a problematic one for the Conservatives. To what extent are you worried that some of your vote is riding on dissatisfaction with the current government rather than a positive vote to say, I've really got an idea of what Labour's plan is?
You know, I spent all day yesterday on the doorsteps here in Kingswood. My coat's still a little bit damp from the rain, actually, of the election yesterday. And when I talk to former Conservative voters who are coming over to Labour, I'm afraid I don't give them an ideological form to fill out, some kind of purity test. What I usually do is I shake their hand and thank them for their support. So I really welcome former Conservative voters coming over to Labour, putting their trust in us because they see a changed Labour Party. We are a changed Labour Party, and now we're ready to change the country.
Interesting that you talk about being a changed party. The Times this morning has got a YouGov survey that found only 3% of voters believe that Sir Keir Starmer has tackled anti-Semitism within Labour successfully. I said this has been a pretty bruising start to the week for your party. How are you going to change that?
Well, look, he took really decisive action earlier this week when a candidate made comments that we found unacceptable. And it's a pretty big thing to withdraw support from a by-election candidate after nominations have closed and that candidate can't be replaced. So I think what we've seen this week is Keir Starmer living up to his commitment to change the Labour Party, taking very quick and decisive action, and showing that when he says he's changed the Labour Party, it's not just words, it's followed up by what he does too.
Do you think the public believe that yet? That what this poll has found, it's just 3% who believe that the problem's been successfully tackled?
Well, I think the fact that we have, I've been around politics for a long, long time, and I can't remember circumstances where a party has withdrawn support from a by-election candidate after nominations have closed. That shows how seriously he takes this. We really are a changed outfit from the party that went before the voters in 2019. We are passing the essential tests of trust that you have to pass in politics now, which are, can you be trusted with the economy and can you be trusted with national security? And with the economy now in recession as a result of Tory mismanagement of it, that's a really important test for us. And you could see from our reaction yesterday that we're ready to grow the economy and get it turned round from the current Tory failure on the economy.
On your vision of how you're going to manage the economy, big businesses have been raising their concerns about your ideas to sort of overhaul workers' rights, which would do things like scrap zero-hours contracts, enhance sick pay, make it easier for unions to go on strike. Those businesses are saying, kind of an appeal to your party to say, look, at a time when we are now in recession, that's going to put significant costs on us and it might discourage us from hiring. Are you going to listen to that big business, the concerns they've got to say the strategies you're putting in place are actually going to harm, not help the economy?
Well, I make 2 points in response to that. First, we will have a much more positive relationship with business than has been the case under the Conservatives. You remember it was a Conservative Prime Minister, not a Labour politician, who said, F business. Now, I thought that was maybe a quip at the time. I didn't realise it would turn into a government strategy as we see the economy in recession now. So we certainly won't be going down that anti-business route that we've seen from the Conservatives in recent years.
So,
but
Pat,
it's
will you review
important that we also
the
have
staff
good
rights?
rights for workers. It's really important that we've got good rights for people at work. People work hard. They deserve security at work. We are the Labour Party. The clue is in the name. We will always stand up for good rights for people at work alongside the very positive partnership that we want with business. We don't see those things in contradiction. We think it's in the country's interest to have good rights for people at work. And as the Labour Party, we will always stand for that.
Final thing, Pat, you talked about trust. Do you have frustration or regret that when you had to defend the decision earlier on this week to stand by your candidate in Rochdale for that later to be reversed, do you wish actually in hindsight you'd made that decision quicker?
Well, look, you raised the issue of the timescale that we made the decision. Again, two things by way of response. First of all, new information came out after I did my interviews last Sunday morning, new information that the candidate hadn't told us, and we looked at the thing in its totality. And secondly, if you want to say the Labour Party took, what might be a total of 48 hours to deal with this, that's quite a sharp contrast to, for example, Peter Bowen exposing himself to a member of staff. How long did that take for the Tory party to deal with? They didn't deal with it in the end. The voters had to deal with it. Or Owen Paterson breaking a lobbying law that goes back hundreds of years. You might say 48 hours wasn't quick enough, but it's a darn sight quicker than the Tory party have dealt with any of the problems that they've had with MPs in recent years.
McFadden, Labour's campaign coordinator, a brilliant 24 hours for you. Thank you so much for your time. Must just stress, Peter Bowen denies all of the allegations that have been put forward.